ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। नीलाम्बुजश्यामलकोमलाङ्गं सीता समारोपितवामभागं पाणौ महासायकचारुचापं नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथम् अतुलितबलधामं हेमशैलाभदेहं धनुजवनकृशानुं ज्ञानिनाम् अग्रगण्यं सकलगुणनिधानं वानराणाम् अधीशं रघुपतिप्रियभक्तं वातजातं नमामि। नमः श्री तुलसीदास सद्वरिष्ठाय धीमते पूरितं हृदयं येन रामप्रेमामृतेन मे। Okay, so today I'm going to chant this Satpanch today. Okay. So you all have the Satpanch sheet, I hope, or the book in front of you. So we'll chant together. You can mute your screens and then chant loud. Okay. So that way it won't bother the recording that is happening right now. Okay.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, Amma.
You said there's no recording, but it is coming as recording.
No, today I am recording. 3 people have sent me a request.
Okay, so you're doing it, right? So
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure it's not a mistake.
No, it is recording today. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. प्रथमहि अति अनुराग भवानी रामचरित सर कहे सि बकानी पुनि नारद कर मोह अपार कहे सि बहुरी रावण अवतार प्रभु अवतार कथा पुनि गाये तब से सुचरित कहे सि मन लाई बाल चरित कही विधि विधि मन मह परम उछाह ऋषि आगवन कहे सि पुनि श्री रघुबीर विवाह बहुरी राम अभिषेक प्रसंग पुनि नृप बचन राज रस भंग पुरबासिन कर बिरह विषाद कहे सि राम लक्ष्मण संवाद विपिन गवन केवट अनुराग सुरसरि उतरि निवास प्रयाग बाल्मीक प्रभु मिलन बखान चित्रकूट जिमि बसे भगवान सचिवागवन नगर नृप मरन भरतागवन प्रेम बहुबरन करि नृप क्रिया संग पुरबासी भरत गए जहाँ प्रभु सुकरासी पुनि रघुपति बहु विधि समुझाये लई पादुका अवधपुर आये भरत रहनि सुरपति सुत करनी प्रभु अरु आत्रि भेंट पुनि बरनी कही बिराद बद जेहि विधि देह तजी सरभंग बरन सुती जन प्रीति पुनि प्रभु अगस्ति सतसंग कही दंडक बन पावन ताई गीतमयी त्रिपुनि तेहि गाई पुनि प्रभु पंच बटी कृत बास भंजी सकल मुनि न की त्रास पुनि लक्ष्मण उपदेश अनूप सूपन काजिमि कीनि कुरूप कर दूषण बद बहुरी बखान जिमि सब मरमु दसानन जान दस कंधर मारी चबत कही, जही विधि भई सो सब तेहि कही। पुनि माया सीता कर हरना, श्री रघुबीर बिरह कछु बरना। पुनि प्रभु गीध क्रिया जिमि कीन्ही, बदिक बंद सबरि गति दीनी। बहुरी बिरह बरन तर रघुबीरा, जही विधि गए सरोवर तीरा। प्रभु नारद संवाद कहीं, मारुति मिलन प्रसंग। पुनि सुग्रीव मिताई बाली प्राण कर भंग। कपि तिलक करी प्रभु, कृत शैल प्रबर्शन बास। बरनन वर्षा शरद अरु, राम रोष कपित्रास। जही विधि कपिपति की सपठाये, सीता खोज सकल दिसि धाये। बिबर प्रवेश कीन जहि बांति, कपि न बहोरी मिला संपाति। सुनि सब कथा स्वामी समीर कुमार, नाघत भय उपयोधि अपार। लंका कपि प्रवेश जिमि कीना, पुनि सीत ही धीरज जिमि दीना। बन उजारि रावण ही प्रबोधि, पुरदहि नागेउ बहुरि पयोधि। आये कपि सब जहाँ रघुराई, वैदेही की कुशल सुनाई। सेन समेत जथा रघुबीरा, उतरे जाई बारी निधि तीरा। मिला विभीषण जहि विधि आई, सागर निग्रह कथा सुनाई। सेतु बांधि कपिसेन जिमी, उतरी सागर पार। गयउ बसीठी बीरबर, जही विधि बाली कुमार। निशिचर की सलराई, बरनिसि विविधि प्रकार। कुंभकर्ण घन नाद कर, बल पौरुष संघार। निशिचर निकर मरन विधि नाना, रघुपति रावण समर बकाना। रावण बद मंदोदरी शोका, राज विभीषण देव अशोका। सीता रघुपति मिलन बहोरी, सुरन कीनी स्तुति कर जोरी। पुनि पुष्पक चढ़ी कपिन समेता, अवध चले प्रभु कृपा निकेता। यही विधि राम नगर निज आये, बायस बिसद चरित सब गाये। कहे सि बहोरी राम अभिषेक, पुर पर नतन रूप नीति अनेका। कथा समस्त भुसुंड बकानी, जो मई तुम सन कहीं भवानी। सुनि सब राम कथा खगनाहा, कहत बचन मन परम उचाहा। गयउ मोर संदेह, सुनेउ सकल रघुपति चरित। भयउ राम पद नेह, तव प्रसाद बायस तिलक। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। Very good. So before we go into where we stopped last week, I just wanted to tell you a couple of things but Veena ji had asked last time. I had mentioned that when Angada went to Ravana's court as a messenger, okay, at that time, when he got very angry, he put so much force on the ground, it was like an earthquake, okay? So all the people who were sitting in the court in their chairs, they all fell down. And Ravana was also moved, and the crowns, all the crowns fell on the floor. At that time, Ravana comes and picks up one at a time and start putting. And in the meantime, Angada kicks four of them, four of those crowns, and those four crowns go and fall at the feet of Sri Ramchandraji. And I had mentioned, I hope you remember what those crowns meant. Okay, so Vinaji wanted to know what it really meant. So it is given in the Tulsi Ramayana itself, in Sri Ramcaritamanas. So if you read from before the 38 Doha in Lanka Kanda, start at 4a Chaupai, and then you go further, then you will see all these things here. So here, what are those four crowns were? They were the Sama, Dana, Beda, Danda. So Sama is, like when the war is there, before you want to go for war, there should be a peaceful negotiation. That is Sama. Dana is, you give like a bribe. I'll give you this much land, I will give you this much wealth, and or I will give you this title, so to see if the war can be prevented. And if when that doesn't work, then you should do the Bheda, that is create the division. And finally, even Bheda doesn't work. Bheda is like say my opponent, he has the backing of other people, so you bring the Bheda division in between them. So that is called Bheda. So even when the Bheda doesn't work, then the last thing is Danda. So you have to punish and you have to take action. And Angada himself, he says, the Veda says this should always remain in the heart of a king. And these are like the four legs on which Raja Dharma walks. Okay. So, but these virtues saw that Ravana was not a fit person anymore. So they did not want to live with Ravana anymore. So thinking like that, they came to take refuge at the feet of Sri Ramchandraji. So there Angada does not even say that, he did it, I did it, and I sent those crowns at your feet. He says they themselves came there because they did not believe in Ravana's Rajadharma anymore. So that is the meaning of those four crowns that came to Sri Ramchandraji. Okay, Veena-ji?
Thank you, Gita-ji. Thank you.
Okay.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. So last week when we were seeing, we saw 67, Doha 67. There we saw that Setu Bandi Kapisena Jimmy, Uttari Sagara Par, Gayavu Basiti Birabar, Jahibidi Bali Kumar, Nisichara Kisalarai, Baranisi, Bibida Prakar, Kumbhakaranagana Nadakara, Balapaurisha Sangar. So how the bridge was built and how all the monkeys, bears, and Sri Ramchandraji and everybody crossed the ocean, and how this Veeravara, that the heroic son of Vali, he went to meet Ravana, and then Nisichara Kisalarai, the Kisa is monkeys. So the fight between the demons and the monkeys, and Baranisi Bibida Prakara, that was described in many, many ways. Kumbha Karana Gananadakara, Balapaurisha Sangara, and how Gananada is Meghnad, that is Indrajit. Indrajit and Kumbhakarna, those are the, they are the mighty warriors, and how they also saw the destruction of themselves. So all these things was described by Kakabhushandi to Garudaji. Now the last portion that we are seeing of the Satpanch here. So it is starting from 67. After the 67, it is Nisichara Nikara Marana Bidinana. So we just chanted that one. So we are not going to chant it now. So here, what is the next thing that the Kakabhushandi described to Garudji? Nisichara Nikara Marana Bidinana Raghupati Ravana Samara Bakana. Nisichara, that is the demons. Nikara Marana Bidinana. How all these demons died, and Raghupati Ravana Samara Bakana, and the description of the war between Sri Ramchandraji and Ravana. These are the two topics that Kakabhushan did describe to Garudji there. So we will see a little bit of Nisichara Nikara Marana Bidhi. So we are not going to see much of that, because we are going to see it again in a where the demons were fighting with the monkeys. So there I will explain a little bit more. So here we will just see Raghupati Ravana Samara Bakana. So then Kakabhushandi described the various phases of the war between Sri Ramchandraji and Ravana at that time. And after Indrajit was killed, okay, Ravana called all his remaining Sena, the army, and he told them, if you are afraid to go on the battlefield, don't go. Okay, I won't force you. But if you go on the battlefield, then if you return in the middle of the war, then I'm going to kill you, because I'm not really counting on you, because I alone can face and kill the enemy. So you can see, even at that time, Ravana has so much aham that he has, that arrogance, that I can do everything there. And so then Ravana appeared on the battlefield with his Yuddharatha, and that Yuddharatha was well equipped with the arms and ammunitions. And but on the other side, when you see, Sri Ramchandraji is just standing bare feet, and he has no armor to protect his body. And Ravana Rathi, it says, Bhirati Raghubira, Bhirati without the chariot. Ravana with the chariot and Bhagavan without the chariot. So Vibhishana saw this one and he became very concerned. He says, Deki Vibhishana Bhayavu Adhira. He became very concerned, and then he voiced his concern at that time. Nathana Rata Nahi Tanapada Trana, Kehi Bidi Jitab Bira Balavana. Oh Lord, you don't even have the Ratha, chariot, and Nahi Tana Pada Prana, and there is no armor to protect your body, and you don't even have anything, you are not wearing anything also on your feet. And Kehi Bidi Jitabu Bira Balavana, how are you going to conquer that mighty hero? Bhagavan said at that time, Vibhishana, my friend, you listen. The chariot that leads you to victory is a different chariot. And there we saw that Bhagavan described Dharma Ratha, and this portion is known as Vibhishana Gita. Then, of course, after Brahmaji tells, Indra sends his chariot with his charioteer, Mathali, and Bhagavan mounted the chariot and he moved towards Ravana. And Ravana bragged about his strength, and he said, I'm not like others, you might have conquered the other warriors, but I am Ravana. I am the three world knows about my strength. Bhagavan gives a beautiful answer for that one. So he says there, hey Ravana, don't ruin your reputation by bragging about yourself. Okay, so but you listen to my advice. What is the advice he gives there? He says that there are three types of people in this world. They are like the rose, or the mango, and the jackfruit. And the one gives only fruit. One gives one gives only flowers, and the other one gives flowers and fruit, and the third one gives only fruit. Okay, so that means the one that gives only flowers it is just talk. That is the first type of people, and they do nothing, and that is compared to the rose. And the second type person is he talks and he does some action also, and that is the mango. Mango has flowers and also it has juicy fruits also. And the third type is the just action. There is no talk at all, and that is the jackfruit. So there is no flower and there is just the fruit. But people who know botany, they will say, Gita, that's not true. There are male flowers and female flowers, okay? But the jackfruit that becomes the fruit, okay, that one doesn't have the it's like male and female. Okay, so I will just stop there. Okay, so here the third type is just the fruit. Okay, there is no talk at all. And so here Bhagavan is telling Ravana, you belong to the first one, the rose type. Just talk, but no action at all. So, and then there's a fierce battle that broke between Sri Ramchandra ji and Ravana, and Ravana used all kinds of illusions, and Sri Ramji kept on cutting the heads of Ravana, but it kept growing. A new one was growing. Then Vibhishana tells Sri Ramchandra ji, Nabi kunda piyusha basu yanke nata jiata Ravanu balatake. So he tells Bhagavan, so in the depth of his navel, Ravana's navel, there is nectar. And that nectar is giving him the strength. Okay, so he does not die until that nectar is there. So then Bhagavan, what did he do? So Kainchi sarasana shavana lagi chade sar yakatis 31 arrows he put on his bow. Raghunayaka sayaka chale manahu kala panisa. So he shot the 31 arrows towards Ravana, and they went like the snakes. Okay, so fierce ones. And so why 31? It is because for 10 arrows for his 10 heads, 20 arrows for his 20 arms, and 1 for the navel. And then at that time, what happened when he shot that one? Mandodari age bujasisa dharisara chale jaha jagadisa. So the arrows, that 10 arrows for the heads, all those 10 arrows carried Ravana's heads and kept that heads in front of Mandodari, and they came back. The arrows came back and to return to Bhagavan's quiver. So the war between Rama and Ravana, this was described by Kakabhushandi to Garudji. Then came Ravana Bada Mandodari Soka Raja Bibhishana Deva Asoka. So the next Ravana's death and Mandodari's sorrow, the pain that was described. And so, and there were the Mandodari and the other queens they were drowned in sorrow. And what did Mandodari say when she saw the heads of Ravana? She says, Rama Bimuka Asahalu Tumara Rahana Kovu Kula Rova Nihara. So your fate is like this. It's because of your own doing. Nobody is responsible for that. And what was his doing? He became the hostile to Bhagavan. And she says, now there is not a single man left in the family who can shed some tears for you. So that was the death of Ravana and Mandodari's sorrow. And then Raja Vibhishana was coronated as the king of Lanka. And then Deva Asoka. Asoka means no shoka. So the devatas, all the devas, they became free from sorrow. Then the portion that was described was Sita Raghupati Milana Bahori Surana Kini Astuti Karajori. So Kakabhushana described Sitaji's reunion with Bhagavanji, and all the Suranha, the devatas, did the stuti, holding the hands together. So those things were described by Kakabhushandi. So a little bit about Sita Raghuvati Milana Bahori here. After Ravana was killed, that means the war was over. So Bhagavan told Hanumanji, you go to Ashoka Vatika and tell Sita ji about everything that has happened. And he went there, and when he said that, Sita ji was so happy. She wanted to give something. Since she didn't have anything, she decided to bless Hanumanji for giving this good news. And what did she say? Sunusuta saduguna sakalatava hudaya basahu Hanumanta sanukula kosalapati rahahu sameta ananta. So, Sunusuta, oh my son, let all the virtues, let all of them abide in you. And also the grace and blessings of Sri Ramchandra ji be always with you. And then Bhagavan said to Angada and Vibhishana, you go with Hanumanji and bring Sita ji here with all respect. So when she was brought, Bhagavan said she has to prove her purity. So for that, Sita ji asked Lakshman ji to start the fire, and she went in the fire, and Agni Devata brought the real Sita with him, and then he said, Sita is the most pure, so please accept. Bhagavan had to do this um, do this act to bring real Sita ji back. So you remember before the Maricha came as the deer, and Sri Ramchandra ji had told Sita ji, now I have to play the Naralila. So now it is time for you to take, stay with Agni. So she goes there and she left her chaya. So all this thing that was in Lanka, it was only Sita ji's chaya. So this chaya has to go back and the real Sita has to come. So that's the reason Sri Ramchandra ji did this one. And then Surana Keen hi Astuti Karajori, and all the Devatas with folded hands, they did the stuti, the praises of Sri Ramchandra ji and Sita ji. And Tulsidas ji, he's not very fond of these Devatas, because only when they want help, they come and help Bhagwan. But other times, even when they could have helped Bhagavan, they don't come because they are, in their own pleasures and all that. So Tulsidas ji here he says, Aya Deva Sada Swarati. So the selfish devas, they came at that time. And what did they were saying? Bachana kahi janu paramarati. And they were speaking as though they are the spiritual seekers. So in those stuti, just 2 lines I'm quoting here. So what was their stuti? They talked about the avatars of avatar of Vishnu Bhagavan, and they say, Meena Kamata Sukara Narahari, Bhamana Parasurama, Bapudhari. So you take avatar at different times, Bapudhari, like Meena, fish, Kamata, tortoise, Narahari, Narasimha Avatara, Bhamana, that is Vamana, and Parasurama. So they counted only 6 avatars that happened before Sri Rama Avatara. So Rama Avatara was the 7th incarnation. Jab jab naata surana dukha paye, nana tanudari tumahi nasayo. So the gods said to Bhagavan, whenever we are in trouble, you have assumed one or the other form and you have saved us. So, and you have put an end to all our sorrows. And they surrendered to Bhagavan, Abu Prabhu Pahi, Sarana Anusare. And then at that time, Brahmaji did the stuti of Bhagavan, and then Indraji or Indra Bhagavan also did the stuti of Bhagavan. Then Indra asked Bhagavan, what is it that I can do for you? So Bhagavan told Indra, you have the Amrutam, so you bring that and sprinkle that on the whole battlefield. And here many monkeys and bears have fallen dead, so you do that one. So here Kakabhushandi had said, this is when we saw this this portion before in detail, Kakabhushandi had said to Garudji at that time, Sunu kagesa prabhu kayyaha bani ati aghada janahi muni jnani. Oh, listen, O king of birds, Bhagavan's words are very, very deep. Only Gnani, learned people can understand it. What does he mean by that? Because Bhagavan is capable of bringing back all those monkeys and bears to life. But he gave that honor to Indra. And so when the nectar was brought and sprinkled on both the sides, what happened? Sudha Vrushti by Duhudala Uparu, on both the sides, Jiye Balukapi Nahi Rajanichara. So only the monkeys and bears, they came back to life, but not the Rajanichara, that is not the demons. Why? Ramakara Baye Tinake Mana, Mukta Baye Chute Bhava Bandhana. Because when the demons were fighting, their minds were filled with Ramakara, absorbed in the thought of Rama at that time. And they were seeing Rama, the Saguna Bhagavan, calling out Rama, Rama, Rama. And therefore, Mukta Baye, they all got liberated and were freed from the bondage of samsara, Chute Bhava Bandhana. So there were no Nisicharas there that came back to life, because all of them had reached the Bhagwan's Dama. And then all the devatas showered the flowers and they got into their aerial chariots and they left. Then Puni Pushpaka Chadi Kapine Sameta Avadh Chale Prabhu Krupaniketa. Then Kakabhushan did describe how Bhagavan mounted the Pushpaka Viman along with the monkeys, Kapina Sameta, and then Avadh Chale Prabhu Krupaniketa, and that Bhagavan, that Bhagavan of compassion, how he flew to Ayodhya. So now a little bit about that one towards the going towards the Ayodhya in the Pushpaka Viman. So now Bhagavan was thinking about Bharata. Now that the war was over and he met this Sita ji and Vibhishana's coronation, everything has happened, and now he is thinking about Bharata. Only one day was left for the completion of the 14 years. So he says to Vibhishana, Bite avadi jamu jau jiyatana pavu bira. So if that time limit of the 14 years are over and then I reach Ayodhya, then I will not find Bharata alive. So Vibhishana understood. So he went to his palace and he brought the Pushpaka Viman and he filled it up with lots of gifts, the gold, the precious jewelry, the clothes, everything. He filled it up and he brought it in front of Bhagavan. Bhagavan also wanted to say thank you to all the monkeys and the bears also. So he told Vibhishana, Vibhishana, you sit in this Pushpaka Vimana, you go up, and from there you shower, bring all those these things that you have kept in the Vimana and shower them down, so that the monkeys and the bears can take those things. So when it was showered, the monkeys and the bears, they thought, all those precious stones and are fruits. So they went running after getting the permission from Sri Ramchandra ji. But when they put it in the mouth, they realized they are not the fruits and they just spit it out. And this was this, and also the clothes, they don't know how to wear them also. And they were wearing maybe the top and the bottom on the head or something like that. So that made Sri Ramchandra ji, Sita ji and Lakshman smile, and they were having a, they were very much amused the way the monkeys were behaving. And then, Bhagavan told all the monkeys and the bears, now you all go home. Keep me in your mind all the time. Keep me in your heart all the time. And you go on with your regular work. At that time, Sugriva, Nala, Nila, Jambavan, Angada, Hanuman, and everybody were looking at Bhagavan, wondering, is Bhagavan is going to tell us also, you all go home? Because they were very much, like in lot of tension, okay, and their eyes were filled with tears. Kahina sakahi kaju prema basa, bhari bari lochana bari, sanmukha chitavahi ramatana, nayana nimesha nivari. So Bhagavan saw their love and affection and he told them, come on, board the plane. And they were all very happy, and everyone, including Lakshmanji, Ramji and Sita ji, everybody boarded the Pushpaka Viman, and Bhagavan ordered the Pushpaka Viman to fly towards Ayodhya at that time. And before reaching Ayodhya, Bhagavan met with some of the rishis also, like Agastya Muni, Atri Muni and all that, and he got their blessings also. Then Bhagavan called Hanumanji and said, you go to Nandigrama and see Bharata. Go as a Brahmana and tell him that we are all coming, and see his reaction. Bhagavan wanted to make sure that Bharata still wants Bhagavan to come back home, or does he wants to rule over the Ayodhya. He wants to know that one. So he sends him, and Bhagavan also met Nishad Raj also. And there ends Lanka Kand. And now comes the Uttarkanda. So here in at Nandigrama, Bharata was waiting also for Sri Ramchandra ji's return, and only one day was left. Rahevu ekadina avadi adhara, samujata manaduka bhayavu apara. Hanumanji came and he gave the news of Bhagavan coming in the Pushpaka Vimana. And with great joy, Bharata went to Ayodhya from Nandigrama. And first he told Guru Vasishtha ji about Rama's coming. And then all the Ayodhya Vasis and the mothers also came to know of that news. And there was joy everywhere. And Ayodhya Vasis decorated the streets, with all that auspicious things like the kalashas and the mango leaves and everything. And they got the arati plates ready. Jehi bidi Rama Nagari Nija Aye, Bayasa Bisada Charita Sabagaye. Bayasa, the crow, the Kakabhushandi then described Jehi bidi Rama Nagari Nijaye, how Sri Ramchandraji's arrival was at the capital of Ayodhya when the Pushpaka Vimana landed there. Okay, I'm going to take 2 minutes break. Okay, so if somebody wants to chant the Nisichara Nikara Marana Bidinana, okay, please do, and I'll be right back. Okay.
निशिचर निकर मरन विधि नाना, रघुपति रावण समर बखाना। रावण बद मंदोदरी शोका, राज विभीषण देव अशोका। सीता रघुपति मिलन बहोरी, सुरन कीनी स्तुति कर जोरी। पुनि पुष्पक चढ़ी कपिन समेता, अवध चले प्रभु कृपा निकेता। जेहि विधि राम नगर निज आए, बायस बिसद चरित सब गाए। कहे सि बहोरी राम अभिषेका, पुरबर नत नप नीति अनेका। कथा समस्त भुषुंडि बखानी, कथा समस्त भुषुंड बखानी। जो मैं तुम सन कही भवानी, सुनि सब राम कथा खगनाहा। कहत बचन मन परम उछाहा, मंगल भवन अमंगल हारी। द्रव सो दशरथ अजिर बिहारी, मंगल भवन अमंगल हारी। द्रव सो दशरथ अजिर बिहारी, मंगल भवन अमंगल हारी। द्रव सो दशरथ अजिर बिहारी। गयो मोर संदेह, सुने सकल रघुपति चरित। भयो राम पद नेह, तव प्रसाद बायस तिलक। मोहि भयो अति मोह, प्रभु बंदन रन महु निरखी। चिदानंद संदोह, राम बिकल कारण कवन सियाबर। रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय।
Thank you, Sita ji. Thank you. Thank
Welcome
you.
ji.
Okay. So, Jahi Bidi Rama Nagar Nija Aya, Sri Ramji's arrival at the his own capital, Nija, in a Nija Nagara, Ayodhya, and how the Pushpaka Vimana landed. So, when the Pushpaka Vimana landed on the soil of Ayodhya, Bhagavan got down first, and then Sita ji and Lakshman ji. And when they saw Guru Vasishtha ji, both Sri Ram ji and Lakshman ji ran and held on to the feet of their Guru, dropping their bow and arrow on the ground. Deke Prabhu Mahi Dhari Dhanu Sayaka. Then Bhagavan met with the mothers, and then the Ayodhya Vasis, and then Bharata, and it was a very emotional scene there. Then Kahesi Bahori Rama Abhisheka, Purabara Nathan Rupa Niti Aneka. Then Kakabhushandi described Sri Ramchandraji's coronation. So Bhagavan, after meeting with everyone, he entered his own palace. Seeing that all the people felt very, very comfortable and very happy, they felt now that Bhagavan has entered his own palace, now he's not going to go anywhere now. So they were very happy at that time. And at that time, Guru Vasishtha ji called the Brahmanas and proposed that the coronation of Sri Ramchandra ji should be performed the same day. Guru Vasishtha Dvija liye bulai, aaj sughari samudai. So he says, today is the best day and the best time. and everything, Titi, Vara, Nakshatra, Yoga, Karana, all the 5 angas of the Panchanga that we say, everything is right and we should do this one. Maybe Vasishtha was thinking, Dashrath Maharaj said, tomorrow we will do the coronation of Sri Ramchandra ji, and it ended up in a mess. So no tomorrow, so today only. So all agreed because everyone was waiting for this only to see the Abhishek of Sri Ramchandra ji. So he called Sumantra and he gave all the responsibility to him, and Sumantra was very happy, and he was he was an experienced in that one. So immediately Tabumuni kahevu Sumantra sana sunata chalevu harashayi Ratha aneka bahu baji gaja turata samare jai. So immediately, many chariots, the horses, the elephants, all were made ready and decorated, and even the Ayodhya Nagari was very tastefully decorated, and there was excitement everywhere. And what did Sri Ramchandra ji do at that time? He puni karunanidhi bharata hukare ji nija kara ram jata new are. So hunkare means, come here Bharata. So he told Bharata to come, and with his own hands he untangled the matted hair of Bharata. And of course he must have done for Lakshmanji also. And then Puni Nija Jata Ram Bibaraye, he untangled his own jata. Then Kari Majjana Prabhu Bhushana Saje Anga Ananga Deki Sata Laje, and he decked himself after taking the sacred bath, and his body was so beautiful. Okay, even the millions of Kamadevas, they were like put to shame. So that's how handsome was Bhagavan. And on the other side, the mothers bathed Sitaji and they decked her. Sasana Sadara Janaki Majjana Turatakarai Divya Basana Barabhushana Anga Anga Sache Banai. So every part of the body was decked with some ornament. That means
We cannot hear you, Gita ji.
oh my God. You can't hear me now? Hari Om?
Now we can hear you, but you froze for a minute.
Oh, okay. I don't know what to do because the
Okay, now it's good. It's fine.
Okay, I'm sorry. So the mother-in-laws, all the 3 mother-in-laws, they gave a bath to Sitaji and they decked her, for the Raja Abhisheka, and every part of her body was decorated. That means from head to toe, they decorated her, and carefully they dressed her up with divine clothes also. And to see this Bhagavan's coronation, Brahmaji, Lord Shiva, and countless sages also, they came there. And Vasishtha ji was very happy with everything that was going on. But on one thing he was not happy. He saw the throne. He said, no, this is not the right throne for Sri Ramchandra ji. And he sent for heavenly throne. At that time, Sri Ramchandra ji with Sita ji, he walked in there, and bowing down to all the Brahmanas, he took the seat on the throne with Sita ji in the midst of all the Brahmanas chanting the Vedic chants. Baite Rama Dvijana Siru Nayi, Janaka Suta Sameta Raghu Rayi. Then Pratama Tilaka Vasishta Munikina Punisabu Viprana Ayusu Dina. So Vasishta ji was the first one to put the tilaka, the sacred mark on the forehead of Sri Ramchandra ji, and then all the other Brahmanas and all, they applied it. And at that time, the Vedas, they took the form of bards, who praised the king. So, and they came there and they praised Bhagavan at that time. And then they returned to Brahmaloka. Then came in the end, when everything was over, Lord Shiva came there and he did the stuti of Sri Ramchandra ji, and he made a request to Bhagavan. And what was that? Saranagata Magata Pahi Prabhu. And he said, I take refuge under you, and please extend your protection to me also there. And in the end, Lord Shiva requests Ramji for a boon. What is that? Bara bara para mangavu harashi dehu Sri Ranga padasaroja anapayani bhagati sada satasanga. And again, I ask only for this one particular boon. So please grant me, Bhagavan. And what is that boon? Please give me that unceasing devotion to your lotus feet and also constant satsang with your devotees. So that is Lord Shiva asked from Sri Ramchandraji. Then Kakabhushan did describe Pura Bharanata Rupaniti Aneka. Then Ramarajya description was given and Bhagavan's rule was also described by Kakabhushan to Garudji. So we very recently we saw all the Ramarajya. So in Ramarajya, everyone followed their dharma. They knew there was no fear. No one was fear of anything, and there was no sorrow, and there was no disease also. Chalahi sada pavahi sukahi nahi bhaya soka na roga. And also there was no alpam mrityu nahi kavanivu pira. So there was no premature death or any kind of suffering. So at that time, I had told you the story of Shambhuka, and I hope you remember that. Shambhuka, when there was no Alpam Mrityu in the whole of Sri Ramchandraji's kingdom, one day a Brahmana brings his son dead body, and he says, that you give me the justice. Why should this boys die in front of me? And of course, Bhagavan asked the people who were there, the Brahmanas, what could be the reason? The Brahmana said, maybe there is a person who is not following the dharma. What is his dharma? So right away, Bhagavan went in the Pushpaka Viman. Apparently, he called for Pushpaka Viman and he went in the Pushpaka Viman and he saw the Shambhuka. He was a Shudra and he was doing severe austerities. And what was his desire? He wanted to go to Swarga in that body and rule over all the gods. So that is not the right thing for him to do. So Bhagavan cut off his head, and that very moment the Brahmana's son came back to life. So that is Alpam Mrityu Nahi Kavanivu Pira. So that's the end. So here Lord Shiva is telling Parvati ji, Kata samasta busundu bhakani, jomai tumasana kahi bhavani. So Lord Shiva says, hey Bhavani, that Kakabhushan told this entire story of Sri Ramchandraji to Garudji, and that is what I heard, and I have already told you that story also. Sunisab Rama Katha Kaganaha Kahata Bachanamana Parama Uchaha. And now Garudji, when he heard the whole story of this Rama Katha, his mind was filled with great joy, Uchaha, and cheerfulness, Mana Parama Uchaha, and he said, Gayavu Mora Sandeha, Sunevu Sakala Ragupati Charita, Bhayavu Rama Padaneha, Tava Prasada Bayasa Tilaka. See the very purpose for which this whole Sri Ram Katha was said, that purpose was fulfilled, right? And also with the what was the purpose anyway? The purpose was to remove the doubts and the ignorance of Garudji. So we also have heard this Ramakatha. So even our doubts and ignorance should be gone from our mind, and our hearts should be filled with love for Sri Ramachandraji. So if this has happened, that is good. But if this has not happened, okay, then we have not listened to the Ramakatha properly. So whether it is Adhyatma Upadesha or the entire Ramakatha, so our mind's delusion and that erroneous notions and all that sorrow and grief must go away, and our heart should be filled with love for Sri Ramchandraji. So I hope that is what has happened to all of us. And if it does not happen, I tell you that we did not receive the fruit of that one because we did not listen to it carefully. So that is what here Garudji is telling. Gayavu Mora Sandeha, Sunevu Sakala Ragupati Charita. listening to this, the Sakala Raghupati Charita, the story of Sri Ramakatha, all my moha and sandeha, delusion and doubts, everything is gone. And what else has happened? Bhayavu Ramapada Neha. Now I have got love for Sri Ramchandraji's feet. So whenever we listen to the Ramakatha or any Purana and all that, we should have the Ekagrata and Shraddha. And also we should be listening from the eligible person. Then the result will be that we will also develop love for that Bhagavan. So it doesn't mean that Garudaji did not know about the greatness of Bhagavan and he did not have love for Sri Ramchandraji. But sometimes it happens. We get deluded when we see something. Even like our gurus, we think he's even though he is a liberated person, and we still think, oh, like a human being. So if he says something, cuts a joke, or eats more of a dish or something, then we start thinking, oh, is he really a liberated person? We have our own notions. A liberated person should be like this, like as if he should not touch anybody, he should not talk anything jokingly or anything. So, but when this kind of thoughts comes, it obstructs our knowledge also. But when we hear the katha properly and all, that obstruction gets released. Okay, so here also that's what happened to Garudji here. And Garudji says, Tava Prasada Bayasa Tilaka. See, Garudji is the king of all the birds. Okay, that Garudji calls Kakabhushandi Bayasa Tilaka, that you are the best among all the crows. And by your grace, my delusion has gone. And now I have discovered that great love for Bhagavan Sri Ramchandraji. So he is giving credit to Kakabhushandi in all the way. So Mohi Bayavu Ati Moha Prabhu Bandhana Ranamuhu Niraki. So why I got deluded? So Garudji is telling, when in that Rana Leela, when I saw that Bhagavan was caught in that Naga Pasha, snares of snake, okay, then I was really, really confused, because I thought, like he is Chidananda Sandoha Rama Bikala Karana Kavana. If that Rama, Sri Ramchandraji is that Brahman, okay, how can he come under bondage? So, and become unconscious. So I could not understand that, but now everything is clear to me. So there ends the Satpanch. So now we go further with our Ramcharitamanas. Okay. So we will chant after the 68 Doha. So here, let's see. Anybody who wants to chant? Any volunteers? Okay, I'll chant them. Okay. Deki charita ati nara anusari bhayavu hridaya mama samsaya bhari soyi prama abahita karimai mana kina anugraha krupa nidhana jo ati atapa vyakula hoyi taru chaya sukha janayi soyi जो नहीं होता मोह अति मोही मिलते वो तात कवन विदितो ही सुनते वो किमि हरि कथा सुहाई अति विचित्र बहु विदित मगाई निगमागम पुराण मत येह कहीं सिद्ध मुनि नहीं संदेह संत विशुद्ध मिलहि परितेहि चित वही राम कृपा करिजेहि राम कृपा तव दर्शन भयउ तव प्रसाद सब संशय गयउ सुनि विहंगपति बानी सहित विनय अनुराग पुलक गात लोचन सजला मन हर्षउ अति काग श्रोता सुमति सुशील सुचि कथा रसिक हरिदास पाई उमा अति गोप्यमपि सज्जन करहि प्रकाश सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय। बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। देखि चरित अति नर अनुसारी भयउ हृदय मम संशय भारी. So Garudji is saying Bhagavan Sri Ramji was acting like a very ordinary human being. So therefore I got confused. I thought he is just a human being. He is no Brahman. He is not my Vishnu Bhagavan there. So Soyi Brahma Abhita Karimai Mana Kina Anugraha Krupa Nidana. But even this delusion, okay, that also I take it as a blessing in disguise. So this delusion and doubt, I got confused. Okay, that is also Bhagwan's grace only, because that compassionate Bhagwan has blessed me in this way. So why Garudji is saying this one? So he says the reason why he considers even this as a blessing of Bhagavan, he says, Jo ati atapa vyakula hoyi taruchaya sukha janayi soyi. See, if a person is walking in this hot sun, the scorching heat is there, then he does not know where to find some shade, some rest where he can take. Then he sees a shady tree and he goes under that. How he feels at that time. He says, at last I have some shade here. Then he understands the value of that shade and shady tree. So that type of sukha, Garudji is telling that I got when I came to your refuge, when I took refuge under you. And so Garudji is saying only a person who has experienced that real heat, that scorching heat of that sun, only he understands the cooling shade of a tree. So now I understood, because I went through so much of confusions, and now I feel what really the peace is. So only when you suffer, then you understand the shanti after that one. So Jaunahi hota moha ati mohi milate utata kavana biditohi. So he says, if I had not got deluded, how would I have met you here? So that delusion became an excuse for me to meet you. Sunate kimi hari katha suhai ati vichitra bahu bidituma gai. And now, how would I have listened to this katha, if I did not get deluded? So not that Garudji did not know about Bhagwan's pratapa, but sometimes, as I said, the mind becomes blocked. So now he's saying, and Ati Bichitra, how was that katha? Ati Bichitra, the way you sang this Ramakatha, the way you recited it, it is something very unique. It's very special. That I wouldn't have got it if I did not get deluded. Nigamagama Purana Mate Eha Kahahi Siddha Muni Nahi Sandeha. So all Vedas, the Shastras, the Puranas, they all say, and even the saintly people, they say that there is no doubt in it now. So what is that the saints and everybody they say? It say, Santa Visuddha Milahi Paritehi Chitahi Rama Krupakari Jehi. So it is only when Sri Ramchandraji's grace falls on you, then only you are able to meet with the great noble saints, and not otherwise. If you remember, when Hanumanji went to Lanka, and Vibhishan, he met Vibhishanji. At that time, Vibhishan had told Hanumanji, Binu Hari Krupa Milahi Nahi Santa. So without the grace of Bhagavan, you will not have the contact. You will not meet a saint here. And that was, and Garudji says, now I have understood that is right. So if you see that Lord Shiva's Stuti also, what does he say? Let me always have the satsang with the devotees of yours. Okay, so without even that one won't happen without the krupa of Sri Ramchandraji. So Rama krupa tava darasana bayavu tava prasada sabu samsaya gayavu. So it is by Sri Ramchandraji's grace I got this great opportunity to meet you. So it is like saying, well, there was he went to Naradji first, and Naradji did not advise him, and he sent him to Brahmaji. Brahmaji also did not advise him, and Brahmaji sent him to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva also did not advise him. So it was like, probably all these people, all Naradji, Brahmaji, and Lord Shiva, they all were aware of Bhagavan's Sankalpa that Garudji should meet Kakabhushandi. So that's why they sent Kakabhushandi, Garudji to Kakabhushandi. So, Tava Prasada Sab Samsaya Gayavu. And because of your grace, he's telling Tava Prasadi here is Bhagwan's. Rama Krupa Tava Darasana Bayavu. So because of Krupa of Rama, I got your darshan, Tava Darshana, and Tava Prasada, Sab Samsaya Gayavu. And from you, because of your grace, all my samshayas, all the delusions and all the doubts are gone also. Suni Bihangapati Bani, Sahita Binaya Anuraga, Pulaka Gata Lochana Sajala, Manaharashavu Ati Kaga. Just imagine that the king of birds, Garudji, he is praising this little kaka, the crow, and when the praises is coming from the king himself, how he should have felt. So now, when Kakabhushandi heard these words of Garudji, soaked with love and humility, he became very like a Pulakagata. So his hairs stood on end, and Lochana Sajala, his eyes were filled with tears. And Manaharashavu Atikaga, and Kakabhushandi was delighted in his heart. And not only for listening the praise of him by Garudji, but there is another reason also. And what is that reason? It is said in the next doha here. Shrota Sumati Susila Suchi Katha Rasika Haridasa Pai Uma Ati Gopya Mapi Sajjana Karahi Prakasa. So because Kakabhushandi got such a wonderful Shrota. Shrota is listener. And when you get such a Shrota, then Vakta wants to give everything away. He does not want to keep any Gopyamane, anything as a secret. Okay, whatever the knowledge he has, whatever he has in him, he gives out everything to that listener when he sees such a listener. So that's why Guruji says, a Shrota, a listener, should not be Sota. That means you should not be sleeping while listening to the Ramakatha, and should not be Sarota also. Sarota is nutcracker. That means whenever the teacher says something, they go on refuting in their own mind. I don't think that is true. I don't think this is the right thing that the Guru is telling and all that. So such kind of Shrota is no good. But here, Shrota Sumati Susila Suchi. So Sumati, who is Sumati? The one who has the good intellect. Okay, and he should be intelligent to observe what he is listening, and not a crooked intelligence. And Susila, he should be gentle by nature and good in character also, that listener. And Suchi is pure. Purity inside and outside also, that is called Shuchi. And it is outside cleanliness, we all know that, and also inside purity of the mind should be there. So that means when you go to listen to a guru or any spiritual discourse, it is not that you should be going there to test the knowledge of the guru or the one who is giving the lecture, but it is to gain the knowledge, and that is known as Shuchi. So the internal cleanliness, that has to happen in the mind. And then that Shrota should be Katha Rasika. So he should be able to enjoy that story also. He should like a enjoyer of bliss. Okay, so he should be like that. See, many times we see the enjoyers of music, when the concert is going on, people who enjoy the music, they're sitting there and they're just in it only. Okay, they have forgotten themselves. But people who are not like that, what do? They keep on looking at their watch. When is it going to end? When it is going to end? So there was this one musician who told Guruji, when the people look at their watch, it's okay. We can take it. But when they take out their watch and they start shaking it to see if the watch is working or not, they feel, the time is not moving at all. So then, that musician, he said, that really takes away our what you call concentration and everything. And when we see people doing yawning and showing that they are bored, how can this musician continue with his music? So Katha Rasika, the one should be able to enjoy the Katha, and you should be one with that one, with the story also. And the other one is Haridasa, and the Shrota, he must be the servant of God. So he should have this feeling, I want to serve Lord and Lord alone, and that type of power is there. Then he is the real Shrota. Then Lord Shiva says, Payi Uma Ati Gopyamapi Sajjana Karhi Prakasa. So Lord Shiva says to Parvati, Uma, you listen. If Vakta, the speaker, finds such a kind of listener, then what happens? Ati Gopyamapi, the most secret things that are there, generally it is not told, but when that kind of a Shrota is there, he cannot keep anything in himself, and he wants to share everything with that listener. So Lord Krishna also said in Bhagavad Gita, Yatteham priyamanaya vakshami hitakamyaya. Arjuna, you are enjoying, and I want to tell you again, without keeping anything as a secret, anything to myself. So Bhagavan gave all the knowledge to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. See, it is said, see, the reality of Bhagavan, the reality of the truth, Rama Tattva, it is a great secret. So this should not be given out to everyone. That means, we say Tom, Dick, and Harry. So you don't give it to everybody, because our Shastra says that na bhruyat yasya kasyachit. So don't tell this tattva to everyone. And even, if you have to give up your head or even your life, it's okay to give up, but you should not give this Rama tattva to an undeserving person. Atma deyaha shiro deyam Rama tattvakam. So you should not be giving. That's what even in Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter, Lord Krishna said in this 67th verse. He says, Idam te na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana. So this knowledge should never be given to one who is devoid of tapas, austerities, and bhakta, one who is not a one who does not have devotion. This should not be given. But when a student is fit, and when you find that kind of a student, nothing should be held back. So, and what are the lakshanas of the student? That is what Bhagavan has given here. Susila and Suchi, Sumati, and all these characters should be in him only. Haridasa and all that. And so here, who are the Shrotas in Sri Ramcharitamanas? The listener, they are the Bharadwaja Muni, Parvati ji, and Garud ji. And who are they? And we know all these three all have all the qualities of a listener. And then who are the Vaktas here? It is Yagnavalkya, Lord Shiva and Kakabhushandi. And of course, Tulsidas ji also. And they have all the knowledge that they can share with everyone. Okay, the next one is we will chant. बोलेवु काकभूषुंड बहोरी न भगनाथ पर प्रीति न तोरी सब विधिनाथ पूज्य तुम मेरे कृपा पात्र रघुनायक केरे तुम ही न संशय मोहन माया मोह पर नाथ कीनि तुम दाया पटई मोह मिस खगपति तोहि रघुपति दीनि बड़ाई मोहि तुम निज मोह कही खग साई सो नहीं कछु अचारज गुसाई नारद भव बिरंचि सनकादि जे मुनि नायक आतम बादि मोहन अंध कीन केहि केहि को जग काम न चावन जेहि तृष्णा केहि न कीन बुराहा कही कर हृदय क्रोध नहीं दाहा ज्ञानी तपस सूर कबीर कोविद गुण आगार कहीं कहीं लोभ विडंबना कीनि न यही संसार श्रीमद बक्रन कीन कहीं प्रभुता बदिर न काही मृगलोचन के नैन सर को असलागन जाहि सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय बोले वो kakabhusundi bahori. And again, then that Kakabhushandi said, Nabhaganatha para Pritina Thori. So he had so much great love for this Nabhaganatha, that is the feathered, the what you call the king of all the feathered creation. That means the king of all birds. Sababidi Natha Puja Tumamere, Krupa Patra Raghunayak Kere. So he says, the Kakabhushandi tells Garudji, it is your greatness that you are saying all this, saying that, because of me, all your delusion were gone. But let me tell you, you are the most worshipful in every respect, because Krupa Patra Raghunayak Kere. And I know that you are the great, recipient of Bhagavan Shri Ramchandraji's grace, and which is very, very special also. Tumahina samsaya mohana maya mo parunata kini tumudaya. So really speaking, you really did not have any doubts, and you had no confusion, or you were not under maya also. But only this became an excuse, and actually you have showered daya on me and mercy on me. And it's still, if you say no, I had actually did get confused, then I will say Patayi moha misa kagapati tohi ragupati dini badai mohi. So if you still say no, you really got confused, then I say it is all Bhagavan Shri Ramchandraji's doing only. This was just an excuse. Excuse for what? He wanted to give me Ragupati Dini Badai Mohi. Bhagavan wanted to give me a great place, a great honor. That's all. That is the only thing. It is all Bhagavan's making only. Bhagavan is great, so he wanted to honor me. That's all. You see, Sri Ramchandraji never says I did it. He always gives the credit to others. So here also Kakabhushan is telling that, it is Bhagavan's Krupa and he wanted to honor me. That is the reason, all this has happened. And Garudji, and then, but okay, Raghupati Dini Badai Mohi. And even this still, if you say, no, I really got deluded, then also I will say this one. And what is that? Tumanija moha kahi kagasai, so nahi kachu acharaja gosai. So you spoke about your delusion and confusion and all that, but oh Lord, he's the king of birds, right? So, oh Lord, I'm not surprised. Why Why not surprised? Because it is Bhagavan's Maya is like that. So Lord Krishna, many times have said, he says, Mama Maya Duratya, right? So Bhagavan's Maya is very, very powerful. And even he gives the examples of how even great saints and gods also have got deluded. Okay, so here he says, Narada Bhava Biranchi Sanakadi J Muni Nayaka Atama Badi. So Bhava is Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva also got deluded. When do you say that he got deluded? So we can say, because of the Purana stories that we have read. So when Lord Shiva saw Mohini Rupa, okay, of Bhagavan, Vishnu, then he got infatuated, right? So he also got deluded. Biranchi, Brahmaji also got deluded. When was that? We have seen in Sri Ramcaritamanas during the wedding of Rama and Sita ji. So the mandapa, everything was created so beautiful. Brahmaji saw that and he said, he got deluded and said, no, I did not create this one. Who created this one? So even he got deluded. And Sanakadi Munis. So we know about the Sanakadi Munis. They went to Vaikuntha Loka and they got angry and cursed Jaya and Vijaya. So they also got deluded. But remember, so but one thing we should remember is, when Naradji got deluded and Shivaji and Brahmaji, so we should not think, okay, well, they all got deluded. So I also get deluded sometimes. So me and Bhagavan Shiva and Brahmaji and Narada, we are all the same. We should not think like that one. You cannot equate that one. So because their delusion is for some reason, okay? So you cannot say my delusion is equal to their delusion also. So when you read the stories properly, then you understand even behind that there is a reason for that delusion also. Just like here he said, all my delusion, it is because of Sri Ramchandraji's doing only so that I meet you. So that was the reason. So Narada Bhava Biranchi Sanakadi, J Muni Nayaka Atama Badi. So they are all great spiritual masters. They also come under the power of delusion. Now comes the long list about the Maya. Mohana anda kini kehi kehi, kojaga kama nachavana jehi. So this moha, this infatuation is so powerful. Okay, so is there anybody who has not is there anybody in this world who has not come under that one? So so it's here is selling Mohana anda kina kehi kohi kojaga kama nachavana hogi. So people who boast their own greatness, okay, but who is that person who has not been blinded by that infatuation, that moha? It makes the person blind. Mohanda here. See, we saw Ravan boasted, we just saw that one. And Bhagavan talked about the three kinds of people also. So we tend to boast about ourselves, so we like to talk about ourselves only, so that the person becomes mohanda. And kojaga kama nachavana jehi. So who is there who does not dance to the tune of kama, the desire? So desire makes everybody dance, that's all, okay, in this world. So this desire and passion and ambition is so great, we fall for that one. So and then trusna kehina kina bauraha kehi kara hrudaya krodha nahi daha. And who is that who is not maddened by trushna? Trushna is thirst for enjoyment, okay? Trushna, that is something, is like a what you call that, you cannot quench, you say you cannot quench the thirst. It is like that, it is very hard to quench that kind of a thirst. here. So that there is that craving, this craving for more and more pleasures. So a person wants more and more only. He is never satisfied with the amount of pleasures that he has experienced. Trusna kehi na kina bauraha. So the best example we can take is Dhritarashtra. Okay, so they see the war is over, and Vidura wants Dhritarashtra to leave the palace and go to the forest and follow the Vanaprastha. But Dhritarashtra is not ready to give up his pleasures of the palace. So Vidura says to Dhritarashtra, especially when he saw that Bhima, how he treats his uncle Dhritarashtra. Every time he serves the food for him, he makes him feel low. He makes him feel small. So Vidura sees that one and he says, you are, all of your people are dead and you are living in your enemy's house. And you see how Bhima is teasing you and all that. And you still, your desires are not over. And you are still tolerating all these things because you are addicted to these pleasures here. In Bhatruhari, in Vairagya Shatakam, he says, Bhogana Bhukta, Vayameva Bhukta. So we have not enjoyed worldly pleasures, but we have been enjoyed by the pleasures. Okay, so Tapona Taptam, Vayameva Taptaha. So we have not performed the austerities, but we got scorched ourselves, nevertheless. So, and then in the end, he says, Trushnana Jirna, Vayameva Jirnaha. Desires do not wear us out. Only we wear out and we become old. That's all. The desires will never go away from us. Kehina kara hrudaya krodha nahidaha. So when the desire is not fulfilled and you come to know who is responsible for that, then the desire that you have, that turns into anger. Kehikara hrudaya krodha nahidaha. So who is a person whose heart was not, inflamed by anger. So that means a person gets angry when his desire is not fulfilled, and there is a person who is a reason for that one also. And Jnani tapasa sura kabi kovida guna agar kehi kai lobha bidambana kini na yehi sansara. Jnani, the knowledgeable person who has knowledge of Shastra, tapasa, person who has done enough austerities, sura, a great warrior on the battlefield, kavi, the poet, means a man of a great vision, kovida, that means kovida, the etymology says kim na janati, the one who is very knowledgeable, the one who knows everything, guna agara, and the abode of many virtues, but kehi kai lobha bidambana kinhi na yehi sansara. Even, these people also, there is who is there who has not come under lobha, the greed. Because of greed, everybody, you hear, like, that, what is that, American Greed, that show used to come long time ago. I don't know if it still comes or not. So because of that greed, we see so many scandals, corruptions, everything, even high places also. And because of that greed, a man becomes a laughing stock also here. So Srimada Bakrana Kini Kehi Prabhuta Badirana Kahi Mrugalochani Ke Naina Sara Ko Asa Lagana Jahi. So Srimada, so the pride and arrogance of Shri, the riches or the prosperity. And who is a person who has not become crooked or arrogance, that is Bakra. Bakra means Vakra. Kini Kehi, and Prabhuta Badira Nakahi. So who is a person whose Prabhuta, that authority, that power has not made him a deaf person. So see what he is telling by his is everybody comes under the moha and greed. Okay, even the learned people also come. So if what that means this is the truth. And so moha coming under that one, that is also okay. How you can get rid of that one, that moha? It is only because Bhagavan's anugraha, the blessings and grace of Bhagavan. Only through that one only you can be free of this moha and doubts and delusion also. So here in a question way, Tulsidas ji is telling, is there a person who has not come under this moha? And he gives all these people, Kavi, Kovida, or the Sura and all, even they also have come under this moha and delusion here. And the next one he says, Mrugalochanike Nainasara Ko Asalagana Jahi. And who is there a man who is not struck by the beauty of a woman? So actually they don't need a real weapon. Their looks itself is enough. So all this is called Maya Sena, the Sena of delusion, the army of delusion. So that is what Bhagavan has, Tulsidas ji has explained here. So then we'll go further in the next class. So we'll stop here. It's only 2 more minutes left. Before we close, I want to request, some of you must have been in Jyotiji's Bhagavad Gita satsang from 1 to 145. Today, she was talking about the war that in Russia and Ukraine, how that teaches us that the history repeats, and how Bhagavad Gita also teaches us how to live properly during that war, and how the mind is very important. What we think inside, that is what comes outside also. And what is it that we can do at this time? We cannot go to Ukraine or Russia or say no, we will also fight on the dharma side and all that. But what is it that we can do from here is, pray for the peace. That's all we can do. So she suggested that everybody chant 11 times Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. That's all we can do, and more people do that one. That vibrations will affect the war zone, and hopefully there will be some peace also. So we will chant Loka Samasta 11 times and then we will finish the class. Okay. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. 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 Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om everyone. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Gita ji.
Hari Om Veena ji.
Hari Om Gita, Hari Om.
Hari Om Sita.
Hari Om.
Hariom Gita ji, Hariom.
Hey, Gita ji.
Chalo.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.